Hey y'all, welcome back. We're going to talk about step three. Step three of leaving a toxic environment. So, step three is visualize. So, we talked about step one, which is realization. We talked about step two, which is agreeing with change. So, in those two steps, we were able to really assess and sit down what is actually happening in our experience. What are the effects of it for us? How do we feel, etc., etc. Coming to the realization that I can't live like this anymore. This is not helping me. And not only knowing it in thought, but also being able to agree in action and now be in a certain mindset of I'm not just going to sit here, I'm going to act. So step three, which is visualizing, is super duper important. You might know that you need to leave, but where are you going to go? What is the game plan, right? So you need some sort of direction before you even get to step four, which would be more of like the game plan and figuring out the practicals of how to reach it. But it's good to have an end goal or a destination to work toward. I mean, some people have the disposition of like, I don't know where I'm going to go. I just need to get up out of here. And, hey, it sometimes do what you got to do, shorty. But I want to make it so that you've got something to look forward to, I guess, right? So you're not happy about what's going on and the things that you're experiencing, but what exactly does happiness look like for you? What type of form does it take? What's the ideal setup for that, right? And for those of you who, if you have purchased my book and you're now coming back here, you're kind of seeing these 5 steps being fleshed out yet again. And so within my book, I do talk about 2 particular situations. It was a living situation in a previous apartment, and then it was where I grew up going to church and reasons for why I left there. So for me, overall, whenever I've had to make a decision about those situations and just about many more, really the big thing that propels me forward was I wanted independence. I wanted freedom in my choices. You know what I mean? And what I was able to realize, though it took me a long while, was that these spaces weren't conducive for that. You know what I mean? And I want you all to hear me very, very clearly, because some of this stuff can just look like, if this is not processed or understood correctly, could just be like, oh, this is just rebellion. You just want to rebel. You just want to go against the grain because you want to be cute. And it's not really any of that, right? So this is not to just whatever, just misunderstand your situation or whatever. So we're talking about real assessment of, this is not working for me and this is what's propelling you to go, right? So I think that community is great. I think that, relationships are great. You know what I mean? But it's about, are you in the right places and spaces and communities and all that stuff? And so this is the process to remove you from the bad foundation and then later set you up for a better foundation. So that's going to be in some other content that I'll do. But I don't know, for some reason, I wasn't going to say that, but for some reason or another, I felt compelled to lay that out. Right? So these spaces for me, and just in general, like, it was not conducive for me to live that independent lifestyle. Advice is good, but when someone or something, and like people or an institution come and just like stamp down, your dreams, goals, and things like that, and try to rewarp it and say, no, you must conform to this because this is actually what's right, and it invalidates everything that you would actually want to do, this is where it becomes toxic. And so for me, I just knew, okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to live independently. Why? Because I'm too busy getting concerned with how to serve other people and how to be a people pleaser to other people, that I have stuffed myself. And me being a person, right? Each and every one of us as people, we are given free will. So for me to basically have been in a place where I am stuffing all of that and making my life's priority to make sure everybody else is good, that's now unhealthy for me. So I realized I wasn't going to get to freely pursue some of these things if I stayed where I stayed. So that's one of the biggest things, right? And then another thing is that, so wanting independence, wanting freedom, wanting to be happy. When is the last time that Elise did something that made Elise happy? You know what I mean? Genuinely. You know what I mean? So, and when have you done that? When you are in that relationship, have you been able to treat yourself? And again, right, there's a line with these things between, just general self-care and, doing the things you like versus being selfish, right? So not even in a selfish way, but it's just like, do I have the ability to rest or relax or, I don't know, go here or go there, right? So I wanted to be able to experience life and not feel like, oh, I need quote unquote permission to do these things, in a sense. And so nobody's actually like, it's weird. It's usually in the signaling. So nobody's actually saying, hey, you need to ask me, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know, because if you was just to pick up and whatever, it's just like, where you going? Why? Oh, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't, what I mean? So it's almost like you got to get approval, and that person or other people got to say, yeah, that's cool. Oh, that makes sense. You know what I mean? I even have a critique about sometimes with advice, right? Some people are giving you advice, and advice is just something to, in general, be considered, right? So, for example, you're watching my videos. If I'm telling you this stuff, this is advice. If you take it or you don't, that is your prerogative because it's your free will. But sometimes in these spaces, when people are trying to give you advice and you say, oh, I'll consider it, and then you choose to do something different, they'll get offended, right? So I knew that I was in spaces like that where it was expected that if this person said this, it was law. Why? Because I'm older than you. You know what I mean? Oh, that was a big one. And again, for some reason, I think I'm at war with ageism because I don't even mean to talk about ageism and it just comes out every single time. That is one of the isms. I mean, all the isms must go. But if there's one ism I hate with a passion, it's ageism. I despise it. Again, I respect my elders. I honor my elders. I appreciate that with their with the length of life that they have some knowledge I don't. And so I strive to be a teachable person. And I think, honestly, a rock can teach me. Like, I get revelations from a rock. I get revelations from, I remember I saw some squirrels being indecisive one day about crossing the street, and they almost got hit by a car, and I said, oh my gosh, that's me. Like, I can get like anything, it can teach me. I strive to be teachable. But sometimes you have people that will lord something like age, or they will they'll just do, even if it ain't age, just something as a way to say, I have the authority in this way, so you need to listen to me. You know what I mean? So I use ageism because it was the freshest thing on my mind, but there are other circumstances. So for me, I really just wanted to be able to do these things. I like and I desire counsel, but I also need freedom to just be able to try things. And, as much as I don't like to mess up, allow me the freedom to mess up sometimes. Maybe I'll try something and I'll be like, oh man, that sucked. He's like, oh, that really wasn't something I needed to do, So just that sort of freedom is what I needed, and where I lacked a lot of the time throughout my lifetime. in different spaces. So I knew, okay, that's part of my visualization of being able to pursue. It could have been an education goal. It's even this right now. I am doing this. I have the space to do this. I've been able to go after business exploits and all this stuff, things that I don't even think I would have thought to do before, or things that maybe people would have said that's dumb for you to even do, or even if they wouldn't have said it that way, they would have been like, you want to be a life coach, you know what I mean? So that was what I wanted. And so I knew that, okay, for these different things, I was going to either have to move, or I was going to have to say, okay, I think that this institution is not where I want to be. Even when it came to jobs, and all of my jobs I've left amicably, but some jobs that some of these jobs that I left, it was just like I had a different vision. I gained what I needed in these different companies, and now I'm feeling like I want to get to the next level, right? So career advancement. So I'm not saying like my jobs were toxic, so it's none of that. But just the idea of I have a different vision for my life, and where I'm at actually doesn't fit. You know what I mean? So that's why I use the job example, not to say that any of my job experiences were bad, or that, they were really oppressive. There's some people I know that, some people are easier to work with than others. That's all I'm going to say. But I overall did not have issue with any of the workspaces that I was in. I actually loved just about all the jobs that I've ever done, and I appreciate them for each and everything that they've taught me up until this point. And so, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So there, you get some stress in the workplace. But anyway, this is not what we're here to talk about. Because now I'm thinking, did I actually? There was one that I've got some gripes with, but overall I did love my job. You know what I mean? I don't, again, all of my workspaces, I love doing the work. I had issues and things that I thought could change, but I was never at the table to make certain things change. So it's some of the processes. But anyways, I do not want to go on a tangent that has nothing to do with this. So think about these things for yourself. What does that look like? Even if not here, then where? You know what I mean? So yeah, so like now you might say, if you're living together with somebody, maybe you're thinking, I'm going to get a spot by myself, or I'll move back into blah, blah, blah place, or I'm going to switch this job, or I'm going to, or I'm going to have to take some time to get in touch with myself, get to know myself. I think that sometimes for those of you who are in certain relationships, whether it be a romantic one or just friendship, sometimes you're just like, I think I need to figure some things out, right? So maybe because time and time again you've gotten into certain relationships, you're saying, maybe this time around I got to take some time for myself. Let me just work on myself. I'll come back to this, whatever. So it can vary, but think about these things, and then that will help you big time for step 4. And then that's when you can figure out, all right, what are the practicals to get me there? But you don't want to just leave without destination unless you're really in a physically compromising situation. I think that those are the circumstances in which you're going to want to be a lot more proactive. But and again, visualizing does not have to take long. I think that I knew what I wanted within a day, but it was a matter of, okay, what am I going to do about it? What are the things that are going to be put in place, and what's the timeline? So yeah, it really, a lot of this stuff is you just getting in touch with yourself and understanding what it is that you actually really want and what you desire. And it doesn't have to be complex, but it's just something to lead and guide you through this process. So that's step 3. I feel like, I hope all of that made sense because I'm not re-recording this. So I hope that makes sense. If it did not, please send me comments, send me an email. I love hearing from all of you. And so, yeah, please do interact with me. Per usual, description is in the, information is in the description. And yeah, and if you need any help with anything that we talked with so far, I'm here. Reach out. We can talk some more about how I can actually help you in a more practical sense. But I'm off for today, and I'll see you at step 4. Take care. Peace.